Have you just started DJing and you want to know how to set cue points? Then today I'm going to go through how to set cue points and a few tips along the way. Let's get stuck in. Hi, I'm Dan from Beatmatch Guru, and today we're going to be talking about cue points. Cue points are really helpful for DJs because they're markers essentially that allow you to start mixing from a certain point of a music track that you've got lined up on your CDJ or your DJ controller, for example, and it still applies to using record vinyls and DVS as well. Cue points you can set right at the beginning of a track, but you can also set them anywhere in the track. And usually I set multiple ones throughout the introduction and sometimes right at the beginning of the breakdown of a song before it builds up and then goes into the drop with the bass line. It also helps to know the song structure of most songs that you have, and that will allow you to set cue points as well throughout the music collection that you have. Cue points can also be set as markers for you to then see when it might be a good time to then drop in and start beat matching another track that you've got in. So they have two purposes really. So a cue point can be where you start to then cue in a track, but then they can also be markers throughout the song to then notify you of good placeholders where you can start mixing out of or into a song. You're probably wondering how to set cue points, and my tips is to use the DJ software itself. You can use that using the mouse and then clicking and setting the cue points manually. That way you can get in real granular into the audio waves and make sure you save your cue points wherever you need. And you can also put the name of the cue point as well, and that's really good for the markers as well. So for example, you can put in introduction, introduction 2, introduction 3, breakdown, and then for the markers you can actually put drop, second drop, halfway through the end or something like that. And that really help you out when you're trying to queue up and mix the next track in. Using your DJ equipment is actually the obvious one as well. So you can set your cue points so you can move the jog wheel, get the part of the audio wave that you want, it lined up with the line in the middle of your software so you can see it. But you can also do that on the digital display of your device if that's what you have. And then you can just set the cue point there using a memory button with a cue point, with the cue button exactly where you want it. MixinKey is also brilliant. So if you have Serato or Traktor, unfortunately I don't think Rekordbox is compatible at the minute, but hopefully they will get that in the future. So MixinKey, if you you purchase MixinKey first, and then you can drag and drop all of your music from one folder into MixinKey software itself after you've purchased and downloaded it. And then what that does is it analyzes all of the audio waves and then saves where it thinks through like its algorithm, I suppose, and it will save the auto cue points throughout the actual tracks or all of your music collection. And then what you can do is just drag and drop that collection back onto your DJ software, Serato for example, and then the cue points will come through onto that software. So that saves a lot of headache and manual inputting of that information, which is quite a nice little hack. Or you just don't even set cue points. You can just use the color coordination in the audio wave itself in Rekordbox or Serato for example. Throughout a track in the audio wave section there's different colors and that really represents like the signal of the audio wave. So usually what you'll see is where the audio wave is not very loud, it might be blue for example, and then when the bass line kicks in it might turn yellow and quickly very much into a red solid line. And at the end of each phrase or section it might go yellow for example in between. So then you can use that as a manual way of using the jog wheel to then find a sort of a cue point, manual cue point from just listening and also looking at the wave as well. So it might not be as efficient, but you can do it that way. Now, if you're like me and you like a vinyl mix now and again, you can actually use vinyl still quite well for cue points. Two tips on this one is that you can put a sticker here and line it up with the actual starting point of the actual track, but you can then maybe put another sticker more inside with a number 2 or something, and that could line up with the middle of the intro as well. With vinyl, it's quite easy to actually see. It's very similar to the audio waves that you'll see on your DJ software, apart from the fact that the line that you want to see here is a lighter color. And if you can see that, it's quite tough to see but on the camera, but the lighter lines is where it signifies like a drum fill, and then it kicks into the next section. So that's another way of doing it with vinyl, if you're still DJing vinyl, that is. Hope you enjoyed that video, guys. It was a very quick tutorial about how to set cue points. Hopefully you've got some inspiration on how to do that. If you're a rekordbox user, I'll put the video recommendation here and you can check out that. It goes into more specifics about setting them in rekordbox itself. Don't forget, you can sign up to the DJ newsletter on beatmatchguru.com. You'll get a free ebook, which is a DJ progression checklist. So yeah, make sure you sign up to that. Check out the recommendations on my DJ equipment as well. So I've tried and tested a ton of gear in the past, so I've got some good recommendations there. Stay tuned and we'll see you next time.